You have to see the latest new color of Catherine Pooler inks. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel, and in today's video I'll be sharing the latest color of Catherine Pooler inks as well as some new supplies from this month's collection. First, let me introduce you to Cotton Candy, which is a beautiful pink, and how it works in with the rest of the pinks in the Catherine Pooler ink line. So first, let's stamp Cotton Candy and compare it to the other pinks from the Catherine Pooler line that I own. If you haven't been made aware yet, they are no longer releasing inks in bundles. They have a ton of colors now and a bunch of bundles that are going to sell out eventually, and the inks will be sold individually along with the minis. So you'll be able to grab the minis when a new ink color is released. So that's exciting, but also they will be filling in their color wheel, which means that they will look at the colors that they have, see if there are any gaps and places that they want to fill in additional hues. And I think Cotton Candy really does that. It is such a beautiful light clear pink without a lot of other color mixed in. It's not orangey, it's not too blue, it's absolutely perfect. Now let me give you a quick peek at the other supplies that I'll be working with this month. So I already mentioned that the full-size ink pad and the mini will be available for all the new colors like Cotton Candy. There will also be refills. I always recommend buying the refills, especially if it's a color you know you're going to use a lot and for different techniques beyond just stamping. So it's always good to have the refills if you're doing any ink blending or anything else. Also this month there's a Wow Sparkle Glitter that is perfectly named Cotton Candy as well. It is taken from the same color line and it just coordinates perfectly with it. I also have the Admit To stamp set, which is a layering stamp set, and the dies to cut out all those little pieces. Now let's use that Cotton Candy ink with the new stamps, dies, and sparkles glitter to create some fun cards. The Admit To stamp set has a outline of Cotton Candy. I'll stamp that in Pebble ink, which is a nice light gray, and then I'll line up the Cotton Candy layer on top, and I'll stamp that with different colors of ink. I'm going to start with Cotton Candy, but I'm also stamping several other of the pink colors that I shared with you in the swatching. So they will have different hues of pink and different varieties. This is It's a Girl, and then I'll also stamp out some darker pinks as well. So it's really nice to have Cotton Candy join the family here because it really does lend the lightest true pink to the whole list of pinks that are available. There's also that little cone element that is a layer as well, and so I've decided to stamp all of my cones in Cotton Candy ink so you can really get a chance to see how this ink stamps out and of course how it dries. So the Catherine Pooler inks, of course, they stamp beautifully from the get-go, but they definitely dry beautifully as well. Another thing you can do with Catherine Pooler inks, and I wanted to show with Cotton Candy, is ink blending. They blend beautifully, super, super smooth, and this Cotton Candy is just a dream on a background. So you can see even with the little hints of white spaces where I don't go as hard, it is absolutely beautiful. Another thing that's great about Catherine Pooler inks is that they are water reactive. So take a brush, roll it in some water, and then spritz it onto your panel and it will react. I also mentioned that I like getting the refill. Of course, it's to refill the ink pad, but it's also to create similar colors of splatters. So it will look a little bit darker because it is super, super saturated, but it's going to match perfectly to the background that I ink blended. So don't forget, while Catherine Pooler inks do stamp beautifully, they are also great technique inks. I'll use a little bit of the Nouveau Crystal Glaze to add some accents to my Cotton Candy, and this way I can pour some of those sparkle glitters on top, and look at how perfectly that color coordinates with the cotton candy ink. The Admit To has a great sentiment that says treat yourself today. So I trimmed my panel down to 4 by 5 1/4 and stamped that in the Midnight Catherine Pooler ink. And now I'll just pop up all 3 of the darker colors of cotton candy so that my sparkly one will kind of steal the show and be in the center there. So, and I will put the foam tape down on the card so that I can press the cone in place without mushing up the glitter because it wasn't dry yet, of course. Another way to use Catherine Pooler inks is to do some ink smearing. Now you can cover an entire piece of cardstock this way, or you can just cover the edges and have this be the perfect mat to your cotton candy stamped card. So have another piece of white cardstock that is 4 by 5 1/4 ready to go for layering on top of that background mat. Then stamp some of the other elements that are treats in that Admit To. So there is a popcorn bucket here that you can stamp those red and white stripes. You can also stamp the popcorn on top. I used the whipped honey color for that. Then for the cotton candy, I used cotton candy for the actual cotton candy part. I did double stamp. That's another thing you can do to kind of create other ranges of colors, is double, triple, or single stamp. And then all of those treats have dies that you can cut them out with. So I'm going to use the same exact sentiment that says treat yourself today. I just really like that. I think it's cute and everybody needs a reminder to treat themselves. So for this card, I decided I was going to pop up all these little elements and have them in a row. And it's looked cute, but then I looked at it and I felt like the pretzel just wasn't balanced on the side. So I'll stamp another one with Midnight ink and then stamp the layer with that ginger ink, which is absolutely beautiful and really perfect for a pretzel, I thought. I love how the stamp layer has the little openings that create the look of salt on the pretzel. And I'll use just some tiny foam squares cut in half to pop up that pretzel because it is kind of a thin line that twists around just like that pretzel. And I think 2 of them really helps to balance out that line of treats. If you're wondering why I love Catherine Pooler ink so much, you need to check out this video here. And if you want to see more about swatching Catherine Pooler inks and their color wheel, then you need to check out this video. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. Pooler inks. No. Dies and, is it glitter? Ooh, my cheeks hurt.